Okay, big day here, folks. Another new video. Make sure you like, subscribe to keep up to date on the build process. As you can see, we got the flooring done in here. Whole bunch of boxes out here. Got some electrical wiring coming in this week, so we're gonna try and get it wired up. Our windows should be coming in this week, so hopefully we can get them installed. But this video is to show you the Maxx fan installation. So we're going to be cutting our first hole in the roof of the van today. We have an adapter coming for the rear fan, so that hopefully will be in this week, and we can do the rear fan, which will be the more difficult one. We'll do that later on this week when the adapter comes. And for now, we're reading directions. I did read a blog about this. They said they've never seen someone mess this up, so hopefully this isn't a first, but we're going to do our best to do a good job on this and get it centered. We're pretty particular, and I think we'll check it many times before we cut a hole. So let's do this.
Let's go over some of the supplies we're going to use today. We've got it all pretty much laid out here. So the first set of supplies that we need are going to be to actually cut the hole in the top of the van. You're going to need a skid saw, jigsaw of some kind. This is what we're going to use. It's got a fine-tooth metal cutting blade on it, 21 teeth per inch for that. We've got enough blades for each one to get a fresh blade for each hole. So 2 fans, 2 windows, 4 blades, just to make sure cutting's really easy. We're going to tape off the hole with painter's tape before we cut, and then make sure to tape up plastic to catch all of the metal shavings. So the metal shavings will rust pretty much immediately as soon as they hit the metal of your van, either on the roof or inside. So it's important to tape off with plastic any area that you don't want to rust, obviously. So then after that, we've got supplies for actually installing the fan. So to prep the hole, we're going to put some Rust-Oleum around the edge where we've cut it. So we've got some primer, the white gloss, and then some clear gloss to put on top of that. So we'll go through that, make sure that all of the exposed edges are covered. We want to fight rust as much as possible. From there, we want to make sure that we clean the van surface. Otherwise the butyl tape and lap sealant may not stick as well. So we've got some 70% isopropyl alcohol for that. We've got some butyl tape to actually mount the flange down to the van surface. Once we have that, you make a wood frame. We've got some 1x2s here. We're going to make a wood frame that's for inside the van ceiling, and then use the screws that are provided from Maxx Air Fan to screw the flange down into this wood frame on the other side of the roof. Then we've got some self-leveling lap sealant. This is going to go around the edge of the flange in order to give it a complete seal. So that's all the tools. One last thing that we have is this 3M window weld. This is only for the back fan, because the back fan is where we bought that template that Greg was talking about for the grooves in the roof. So it helps mount that unit to the roof. So we'll show you how that works with this stuff, but we're not using it for the front fan because we don't need it.
We'll also put links for these products below.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go look for them all over the place like we did. And we did the research, but we're not experts, but we feel pretty good about the stuff we got. So
yeah,
feel free to do your own research more if you need to. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
For the sake of being extra careful, we drew a 14x14 template on this cardboard. We took our flange and set it on it. It looks like it's going to fit inside of it. So in theory, we move the cardboard onto the right spot in the van and then cut that hole, we'll be in good shape.
I recommend using a builder square.
Yes. We didn't talk about that a minute ago, huh?
No.
Builder square.
I just grabbed it from my dad's wood shop. Very handy.
14 inches long, so it was perfect. So we put our cardboard template onto the ceiling where we could get as close to center as possible. And now we are going to just stencil it with some pencil up onto the ceiling. Then we'll probably measure 5 more times. Then we're gonna drill a couple holes and we're gonna transfer the template to the top. I wanna cut from the top so that we can just tape a plastic bag here to catch all the shavings. And I think it'll be easier, personally, to cut with the weight going down rather than trying to cut over my head. If anybody's done it, comment below and let us know what worked for you, for the other people watching this, but I think cutting from the top is going to work a little bit better for us.
You can see our pencil line goes along the very edge of this one and along the very edge of this one, and then it's pretty centered front to back, so it's pretty easy to find vehicle center here and then line it up.
No one doesn't want to go through as easily.
Okay. So you can see we've got our drill bits sticking up from the inside of the van. We drilled those holes so that we knew exactly where our reference points would be for this template, and we left them in. So now that it's lined up on the top here, we feel pretty good about this placement. I'm going to stencil the outline of our fan on the top with a pencil, and pencil shows up just fine. You could use a marker or something. Doesn't seem to really matter since you're cutting it out anyways, but
yeah, wax pencil might work all right too.
Yeah.
So we've watched as many videos as we possibly can about how to do this, but now we just have to do it. We got garbage bags taped around the outside of the hole so that it can catch any of the metal shavings that come off, and I'm going to drill 4 holes with the drill in the corner so that I can get the saw in, and then we will make some cuts.
Going.
Yeah.
Oh, keep going. I don't think you want to stop when it's like that.
No?
No.
We got a hole. That should be okay.
Yeah.
Are you able to push it up a little from the inside?
Yeah.
Is our garbage bag doing good?
So far.
That's good. Okay, hold it there for a minute. Hang on. Okay. Huh. It's gonna jump around a bunch now, I guess.
Yeah. Do you want me to try to hold it from the bottom?
We'll see what happens.
So in order to catch all of the metal shavings coming to the inside, we just taped a garbage bag to the ceiling, and it stayed up the whole time. So should have a bag full of metal shavings. We're going to be careful to pull that down.
So we have our hole here now. Before we pull our bags off, we're going to file this edge a little bit. Then we'll peel all these bags to the inside, into the garbage bag on the inside. And then we will sand it up one more time, make sure it's nice and smooth. Paint it. Clean off the roof, make sure we get any of the metal scraps that may have made it off the garbage bag. And then we will put the fan in. Alright. We got the metal out, we took the tape off, use a little file, smooth out the edges, and now I'm just gonna put a layer of primer on all this, and I'm gonna use a Q-tip.
because that's what I have and it works pretty good. Sponge might work alright too.
And now we have an extra
800 feet.
800 feet of beetle tape. Do you want to explain what you're doing?
So we put the beetle tape on over the screw holes on all 4 sides here. And then we're going to peel this back and then put it in the hole. So you make sure these metal pins are to the outside. We got our beetle tape smashed down everywhere, and I just squeeze it on both sides, get it nice and snug.
To the outside, you mean to the right and left of the van?
Yes.
Not front and back?
Sides.
Yes.
These are self-tapping screws, so we're just gonna go into here. It's gonna go through and it's gonna hit a piece of wood on the inside. You don't wanna over tighten these because they'll just rip through. So just get them nice and snug.
Now we've got the flange on, the butyl tape's underneath, it's all screwed into our wood frame. We are using the Dicor self-leveling lap sealant to go around the edge. The instructions don't really tell you how to do this, but the videos we watched said to be generous. So we are going to do that all the way around. And that's that step. Open it.
Open it up. See the wires? I see some wires.
Over
there
here.
You go.
So
get the wires.
Hold in. That should be fine.
Alright. Facing the rear.
Yep.
Should we open it so they hang down?
Sure.
Can you help? Okay. So you want to feed that in? Will you help feed it?
Go ahead. Okay.
You want to get a screw ready?
Goes on the outside, right?
Yep. Just watch your hands on the goop. Don't stick them in it.
You gotta go down a little? Or do I just
Can you get it?
shove it in?
I think that's why that guy said to pull these up just a tidge.
Pull what up?
The metal things.
But they're on the hole.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's not gonna pinch those wires, right?
No.
Okay. Just get the one going. Start the next one. That should be that. Feel it?
We're tired. We got the front fan in.
Yeah,
So,
that's a wrap on the
done.
fan installation.
Yeah. It wasn't really too bad. Like Greg said in the beginning, we're kind of perfectionists, so we measured about 40 times, cut once. It worked out really well. A couple tips. The directions are not super explicit as far as what materials to use or how to use them. We definitely needed pilot holes.
Oh, I was gonna say link below for all the parts,
Yeah.
but we already said that.
Yep, so pilot holes, we were having a really hard time getting the screws to go through the flange, through the roof of the van, and then into our 1x2 wood frame. So you guys saw some of that. I was pushing up from under the roof and Greg was pushing down from the top, and that butyl tape was just binding up the screw.
Yeah.
So we drilled pilot holes after we screwed up a couple times, and it went much smoother after that.
I don't think we screwed up. They just didn't go through, and then they got all gunked up, and it just nothing was happening. So
yeah,
drill a couple pilot holes.
It makes a big difference.
Just a small pilot hole was
Yeah.
fine, and then they should go in like butter.
Yeah.
Also, don't over tighten the screws around the outside. You don't want to crack the ring.
The flange.
So we went kind of slow with all of them, cinched them down, and then went back slowly with all of them and just snugged them up. And then, yeah, put the sealant on and let it sit until it kind of hardens. I think it said 5 minutes before it gets a film on it.
Yeah.
So we didn't touch it when we were putting the fan into it. Probably still don't want to touch it for several hours. It said, what, 3
It says
days?
4 hours to waterproof, and then 30 days till it's 100% cure.
30 days.
Yeah. So
30 days. That's a long time.
yeah.
We also bought the more, what do you want to call it? Not environmentally friendly one. They do have an environmentally friendly version,
Yeah.
which we usually would go for, but we didn't want to risk it on a leaky roof, so we went with the nasty chemicals for this one. We used about a half a tube on the front, so I'm assuming we'll use a half tube on the back when we show you us putting that one in with the adapter, and
Yep.
good stuff.
Yep. So we'll do that tomorrow.
Make sure you subscribe and follow to keep an eye on the build. We should have windows coming soon.
Yay.
And then we will be cranking,
Yeah.
hopefully. All right, we are back here working on the rear fan today. We got our adapter plate in from DIYvan.com. It is not sponsored, but we definitely think it's worth I think it was 65 bucks or so for this. But yeah, so it's already cut out to the shape of our ribs on the back of the van, and it'll give us a level mounting surface, so we don't have to actually make a wooden template to put back here, so saving us a lot of time. So we took this guy, put it on here. We know that we need 8 inches of space for the back of the fan when it's down. So we want it to come out here anyway, so we're about 8 1/4 forward. Do measurements a bunch on your own. And then we checked on the inside where this will go to make sure it won't hit one of the cross beams in there. We'll be about 1.5 inches shy of that. So this is about a perfect spot for it. We masking tape it down into place. I just penciled around the edge to give ourselves a nice little stencil, and it's going to be a lot easier to make this cut and more trustworthy than our cut yesterday with our little jig that we made, or template that we made. So we'll get this off, we'll get it cut in, and then repeat the process from yesterday, which was pretty easy on the front. We did order or purchase longer screws for this to make it through, because obviously we're adding some height to the frame. Alright, so we are working on the back fan hole. Did a lot of the same stuff you saw on the front hole. It is painted, ready to go. We have our adapter here ready. Put the adapter on, and the instructions say to put a tape line 1/4 inch around the outside of that. We're going to put the 3M window weld on next. It said to use a double gloved hand, so this stuff looks pretty nasty. We do 3 beads around the outside of this guy, and then it just says to press it on by hand, and then we will rub a finger around the outside to clean up the excess. This is gonna make my arm tired. Alright, so we got this on. We're just kind of holding pressure. It had 2 choices. It said if you do use clamps, they aren't required. It said if you do use clamps, to use a lot of them and do them really light. So we're just going to kind of keep pressure on it for the next few minutes. It's supposed to set up within 15 minutes or so. And then you leave it overnight to really cure. And then we will do the same for the top on this with some longer screws. So you saw how that went on the front. We should get this done in the morning.